Hey, Jimbo, you ready for this deal?
Turn her out.
That's right.
Old stories like long lost friends, rodeos and late night bends, history before our time, round pens and pasture rides, cowboys of the Osage. Old stories like long lost friends, rodeos and late night bends, history before our time, round pens and pasture rides, cowboys of the Osage.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Cowboys of the Osage podcast. Special Cowgirls edition today. Brought to you by the Ben Johnson Cowboy Museum, the Buck and Flamingo Turquoise Shop, and now Saucy Calf, traditional Native American food, all located right here in historic downtown Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Hey, it's old Cody over here, and as always, I have my main man with me, Mr. Rodeo Historian himself, Jimbo Snively. Good morning, Jimbo. Who are we talking to today?
Hey, Cody, boy, it's another great day in Osage. And Cody, we got a real treat today. We've got the talk of the steer roping world, no doubt.
Talk of the rodeo world.
Probably the talk of the rodeo world. You're probably right. And, of course, I'm talking about Kassandra Shoemaker. And last weekend, Cody, she did something that I really didn't think would probably ever happen. She won a PRCA rodeo steer roping. And there wasn't anything fluky about it. I went back and watched the runs. She just out-roped them, put 3 nice runs together, and won the average. Placed in 2 rounds.
Good Lord. She's getting kind of greedy over there, wasn't she?
Yeah. And anyway, she's also the first female to go to the College World National Final steer roping. She also was the first lady to win the Rookie of the Year of the Wyoming Steer Roping Association. So she's broke a lot of barriers, and I have a feeling she's going to break a few more before she's done. And we're just happy to have her with us today. Kassandra, welcome to the Cowboys of the Osage podcast.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I bet. Has it been a whirlwind since you won that steer roping?
It sure has. I've talked to so many people and gotten some really cool opportunities to network and kind of get my story out there. So,
wow.
But this is one of the most exciting, I'll have to say.
I know it. You know, that was really something. I like I say, I went back and watched those runs. Were you nervous in that short go that last night?
Yeah, I was. And my whole goal lately with roping is just to stay kind of calm, cool, and collected.
Right.
That was pretty tough that night.
Yeah. But you didn't show it. I mean, you just went out and made a good, smooth run to win it. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah, I was a little longer than I would have liked to be, but got him doctored, so that's okay.
Yeah, well, you still won by, I think, 2 seconds or something in the average, and that's pretty unusual right there.
Yeah.
As competitive as steer roping is anymore on the times.
That's no doubt.
Where'd you grow up at, Kassandra?
I grew up right around Kersey, Colorado, just about 30 miles northeast of Greeley, Colorado, kind of in the northeast corner. Went to high school right there. My dad owns the vet clinic in Greeley, so he was always busy with that. But that's where I spent the first, part of my life, and then went off to university, and things kind of changed after that.
And your dad, you didn't mention, has been a steer roper your whole life, and a good one. I guess that probably you grew up with a rope in your hand.
I sure did. I think I was on a horse before I could walk. So that's been pretty vital to my whole, experience and upbringing and everything. But especially the steer roping. I remember when I was younger, him making the finals at the Sheridan YO and at Cheyenne for 2 days, and getting to be a part of that and see like those big steer ropings and seeing it on a, like broadcasted level and at the pro rodeo deal was really fun. I got to go along with them to a lot of those. And of course, all of the Wyoming Steer Roping Association jackpots. I really just grew up with all those guys.
Yeah, her dad is quite the roper, Jimbo. He's taken so much of my money, I quit counting how much he took of it.
Yeah.
I can rope pretty good.
Absolutely. I've seen him rope. Well, did he, let me ask you this, did he encourage you to be a steer roper, or is that something you just kind of wanted to do on your own?
Yeah, 2 summers ago, there was kind of rumor and talk that they were going to have a college division. And I still had a couple years left at the University of Wyoming, college radioing for them. And so it wasn't a really for sure deal. It was just, well, I might as well tie a few down at home. I mean, I'd always practiced. I've breakawayed some steers and I had tied some steers on the ground, done a lot of groundwork and stuff, but I'd never put a run together through and through. And so it was just kind of one day we were out roping and figured might as well try it and see if it clicked. So that's just kind of how it started. And then there was a couple more Wyoming Steer Roping Association jackpots left that year that I could go to. So that's how I got my foot in the door. And then the college deal just really was kind of the kick in the butt I needed to crack out.
I bet your dad being a steer roper too, that helped you immensely with your horses and stuff, because that's probably the biggest variable in steer roping maybe is the horses, and the horsemanship. Oh,
absolutely. And he's my whole life through 4-H and all rodeo. He's always put me on great horses. He's a real horseman, and we've been able to work on a lot of that stuff together, but that's absolutely been why I've been able to kind of step into this and just kind of, I honestly, I've gone further than I ever thought I would, winning Yuma and stuff, but the horsepower is absolutely what carries me.
You were riding a good bay horse last weekend, but the year before on your video, you were riding a kind of a blue roan horse.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about those 2 horses.
Yeah, so the blue roan mare, she's a little bit older, 15, 16 years old. And the mare, that's also a little bit uncommon that to ride a mare this deer roping. But my dad, he rode a really cool brown mare all throughout his career. Her name is Sally, but anyways, so that blue roan mare, I just kind of got on her and got along with her. She's always been kind of the training wheels for guys that want to come rope with dad or they need to mount out at the rodeo. She's just so solid. She covered up a lot of my mistakes as I was starting out. She's easy to get off of. Plenty of run. She is so strong. I mean, she'd pull your house off the foundation if you asked her to. And I think that plays a big role in it. I probably made a few mistakes that steers shouldn't have laid, but she was so strong and so solid that they ended up working out, and then this bay gelding, we kind of got to the point going to the pro rodeos and stuff that I needed to be on something just a little bit stingier, a little bit shorter strided and can adjust to different setups,
Mm-hmm.
And so this bay gelding, he's 5 this year, and we've got a really cool set of 5, 6-year-olds that we've been working on in the tripping, and my dad has done so much of the work while I'm at school. But so we took him, this summer has been his first outings at all. I got to hit on him a little bit at the college rodeos, I think last year. And so he had been to some rodeos, but he definitely wasn't, seasoned for the big perf and the lights and the people there in Yuma.
Right.
Mares and steer roping, it used to not be common, but with the steer size and stuff now, Jimbo,
mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing as big a problem with it as it used to be.
Yeah, I don't remember as a kid or anything ever remember anybody riding a mare, but
I remember a handful of guys. Brad Mohan rode a mare. Okay. The banker from over there, Steve Lynn, he rode a mare. There's been a handful of them through the years. Randy Stahl's another good roper from out there in Shamrock. He rode a mare for a while. But you don't see it too much. But anymore, I don't hardly see a problem with it.
No.
You know, these steer size shrinking the way they are.
Yeah. Well, go watch that Blue Roan mare work. I mean, she's dragging them steers pretty fast.
I saw her right over there at Claremore riding that Blue Roan mare. Looking good, looking good. Hey, Kassandra, your very first run you made when your dad said, "Hey, let's tie this on. Put away that breakaway rope. Put them strings in your belt." I want you to walk us through that very first run because I can still remember the very first steer roping run I ever made.
Mm-hmm. I will say it wasn't so clean and awesome. I was riding the bay horse that actually my dad's riding now. She's also a mare. So the first run I ever made was on her. Of course, my mom is out there and she's videoing for us. She is a saint. She comes and pops the chute and videos for all of our practice sessions. But we was out there and he says, "Well, just go ahead, tuck your strings in and just run this one. Go tie them down. Don't think about it too much." And so I did. I come across there and of course we're probably further than halfway down the arena and I rope him and get everything set up, make a pretty nice corner, and then I pull my leg and just go to kind of bail off, and this bay mare steps right out from under me to the right side, just makes a 90-degree angle, headed to the north. And so I ate dirt and wasn't really sure I wanted to make another run after that. But she was, I don't know, it was one of those things. I'm sure I was so nervous that she didn't want any part of me. But after that, I mean, we got it ironed out there that day. There was a lot of getting trapped. I had bruises all down my right leg for a while there that first year. Lots of that, lots falling down, just trying to figure my feet out.
That getting trapped's the real deal, Jimbo. I think I still have a big bruise all the way to the bone on my right leg.
One spring, we were doing some controlled burning. It was burning time, over at the lease where I worked. And I had some matches, the old kind you just strike on anything, in my right pocket, and got trapped and they went and lit those matches. My pants caught on fire and burnt a pretty good hole in my leg underneath there before I could get it put out.
I imagine.
I never will forget that.
Yeah, you were trying to shuck them pants fast as possible.
Well, I was hitting them pretty hard in my hand for sure. But anyway, who got your dad started steer roping up in that country?
Oh, you'd have to ask him for sure. I know he spent a lot of time with JD8 when he was getting started, and just kind of roping in general, training horses, and he took a lot of horses to the AQHA shows and some of the fraternities. So he hung out a lot with Dick and JD in Pueblo. It kind of got him into it.
I think JD8 is one of the best ropers to ever live, Jimbo.
Yeah.
He was never a world champion, but I think he ropes better than most any world champion I've ever seen. So
yeah,
he's right there at the top of my Mount Rushmore list.
Just went into the Hall of Fame.
Solid rope. He did just go in the Hall of Fame, didn't he?
So a lot of people agreed with you.
Such a good roper. Holy moly. He can rope off anything and rope anything, too. Don't matter if it's a calf neck, heels, head, steer roping. If it's roping, it's JD Yates. He's right at the top. Right at the top. He's on my Mount Rushmore.
Right. Kassandra, I read somewhere you're enrolled in vet school. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I leave about 4 or 5 days to head to Manhattan, Kansas.
Right.
And I'll start another 4 years at school.
Yeah. We used to get, here at Pawhuska, we used to always have some vets from Kansas State here, when I was a kid. But
that's not too far from Pawhuska from Kansas State.
No.
She's going to have to bring her steer roping horse and slip on down here to Pawhuska to some of the Osage roping.
Yeah, we have a good steer roping club down here.
Heck yeah, I'd love to.
Now, will that eliminate your eligibility for the college steer roping club or finals or whatever, or association? I don't know what I'm saying.
It sounds like I've still got another year, so you get like a grad year.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and use that, see how much time I have. But I'm hoping to make it to some of them down there. A lot of them this fall are in Texas, but Jess Tierney sounds like he's going to try and have some more there in Altus or somewhere in the Central Plains region areas. So,
Right.
Yep.
Well, I bet them boys hope that she can't make it to part of them.
Probably.
Holy moly.
What did the guys think? What kind of feedback did you get from the other ropers when you won that roping up there, Kassandra?
I got everything I got some fist bumps, some big hugs, just nothing but support from those guys. And there's just so many people that support me and they were excited for me. And I mean, guys that were in the perch right after me, they were nothing but pumped up and excited for me.
But now that with that's going to come more pressure to, everybody's going to be watching you, want to watch you rope and all that. How are you going to handle all that? Just one steer at a time?
Yeah, exactly. Pressure makes diamonds. So
right.
I just take it one step at a time, and it's pretty easy to make roping in general, rodeo. It's pretty easy to overcomplicate it in our heads. So I've worked pretty hard lately to just keep it simple and do what I know how to. It's a lot easier if, especially with the steer roping, not make it a timed event, because it really is. There's so much that goes into it. You can't get in much of a hurry.
My grandfather told me when I was a kid starting to rope, he said, you'll tie a lot more steers you'll tie a lot faster steers when you're trying to take your time than you ever will when you're trying to hurry.
It's the oldest saying in the world in the steer roping business: slow down and be fast.
Yeah.
How many times you heard that, Kassandra?
Yeah.
A lot. And a lot of the time my dad says smooth runs win money.
Did you win this money in your circuit?
Yes, sir.
So this probably pretty much cinched that circuit finals for you, didn't it?
It sure did.
That's another milestone right there, Jimbo. Not only is she the first woman to win a steer roping, now she's the first woman to make a circuit finals in the steer roping, I'm sure.
Right.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I wrote the numbers down. $2,341 is what I had you winning up there. That's awesome. Now, will you rope at Cheyenne next year? No?
I will, which is pretty exciting. So
you already roped there.
That's a dream come true.
Well, you did rope there as a breakaway roper, though, right?
I have. Yep. The last couple of years, I've been able to rope there.
But what's it going to be like to back in the box as a steer roper, knowing the history there and all the great ropers that have rode into that box?
Yeah, that's adrenaline like none other. Breakaway, it's fun, but it's sure not the adrenaline that the steer roping is. So I can't wait.
That'll be awesome. I was looking at all your runs on Facebook, and the one that caught my eye was, excuse me, it looked like, Cody, take over on that.
You all right, Jimbo?
No, I'm going to give me a drink.
Okay. Which one were you going to talk about? The one up there at Don King Days?
Yes.
Jimbo, he was sure impressed with you up there when he saw a video of you. You were backing up in the box there at Don King Days, and all of a sudden, the sky just fell in on you. And
Yep.
he said he could barely see you out there, but he could see a rope and tie that steer down.
Well, that grass and that wet grass raining, I think I'd have figured out a way to miss that steer. were you even thinking about that? Because you were going 100 miles an hour by the time you got down there after that long score, and on that wet grass, I just can't imagine turning away from a steer like that.
Yeah. No, it was nerve-wracking. That's just a testament to that big blue roan mare.
Yeah,
I mean,
you had
she
to
is
have
so
confidence
solid.
in your horse, for sure.
Yep, big time.
Hey.
And I knew the ice nails were good because we went through, and my roommate and I put ice nails just about everybody's horse that morning. So I knew we were all right.
Hey, what is Don King Days for everybody that hasn't been? There's a lot of steer ropers from down in this area that never has been and probably never get a chance to go to Don King Days.
Mm-hmm. Don King Days it was one of those bucket list things. It's right up there with Cheyenne and Sheridan and those kind of rodeos. It's a long score. It's similar to Pendleton, where they have the box and just like an alley, a panel set up. You call for your steer. You're paired up with a pusher, and they walk back there, get your steer, and push him out. Hand pulled barrier, everything out there on a big old polo field, just grass. No fences. They hold the herd down at the end of it. There's not even a fence in between the spectators and the roping, and then they have a bronc riding too. But it's one of the most fun weekends. I mean, people are just out there. Sometimes there'll be steers and broncs run right through the middle of the spectators. I mean, knock the chairs over, knock the beers over. It is a once in a lifetime deal. So I hope I can go back to that for as long as I'm alive and able, whether I'm roping or not.
Next year at the Ben Johnson, we'd like to bring you in and have a special match steer roping. An all-girls match steer roping. We need to find a girl from around this area to put up against Kassandra. I know of one, Tamara Smith.
Right.
If we could just talk her into it. Right. It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Be a great draw for the crowd. People would come watch it.
Well, it's been a long time.
Oh, yeah. Kassandra, since you are a lady steer roper now.
But you know what? She might be qualified for the Ben Johnson.
So, yeah, she might even be qualified. You know, you have to have
that'd be even better. That'd be even better.
For sure. But since you're a lady steer roper now and doing quite well, have you went back and looked at any of the history? Are you aware of any of the old-time lady steer ropers? Have you read up on any of that?
I haven't done as much homework as I'd like to, but I have read some articles and things, and I've had people send me articles about like Mabel Strickland,
right.
And gals like that, and how they used to be able to like exhibition, or they were like almost a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I read some of those, but I'd love to know more.
Well, there was a Lucille Mulhall, too, that was a real famous steer roper, along with that Mabel Strickland. And they did have some early day steer ropings for the women. Not too much, I don't think. But they used to ride broncs at the rodeo, had a regular event, lady bronc riding. And a lady was killed up at Pendleton in 1929, and that ended it. And then when the Rodeo Association of America took over, they said no female competing,
It looked like they used to wear like a buckskin dress to rope steers too, Jimbo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they wore dress. Well, the men wore starched white shirts and ties, some of them, and women wore dresses. It was a little more formal event back then. But and there was a lady up in your area, not too far from you too. I don't know if you know of her, but Ramona Merritt. She was King Merritt's daughter, and she ended up marrying John Dalton. But I'm sure your dad probably knew John Dalton. But she used to exhibition, and I saw an old 8mm film of her at one of those big Laramie steer ropings back in the late 40s, probably, tying a steer on her dad's horse. One of the big steers, went down the arena and made a pretty nice run. But she was a real cowgirl, Ramona Merritt.
When Kassandra gets over there to Kansas State, she's going to have to teach her own class how to doctor a steer or cow by yourself in the pasture with just you and your horse.
Right.
I think she could teach a whole class on that over there to the vet students.
She could do it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you ever do any doctoring out in the pasture?
Yeah, I do. And actually that bay gelding is normally the one I'm going to grab if I need to. But we also do, like the El Guapo deal where you drop it around and get their front feet stepped over it and then get their hind feet. Just like kind of a loop around their hind feet.
Okay.
And then knock them down that way. And then just get real close, get dallied up and step off that way. It's just a little bit slower pace. There's enough gopher holes and stuff out there that, that's how I normally do it at home. But my little brother, he's one you'll need to look out for here in the next couple of years. He started roping steers. He's normally pretty good help to go doctor, so we make a pretty good team.
You're also a breakaway roper and a team roper and a barrel racer and all that. You've done it all. Has that kind of other stuff kind of taken a back seat since you're concentrating more on the steer roping, or are you still going to do quite a bit of that?
Yeah, I've still been breakaway roping pretty hard this summer. We're actually on the road right now. I've been able to win a little bit. I really love the breakaway roping, and I have a horse that I was able to take from green and finished her, and now I get to compete and win on her at the pro rodeo level. So I'll continue to breakaway and team rope this fall for Kansas State as well. The barrel racing definitely took a backseat. That was kind of a fun little thing. I cracked out for about 10 college rodeos. Now I think I'm retired in the barrel racing. But just really, I love doing whatever I can do on horses. I think we've gotten a long ways away from having a horse that can do anything. So I just like to make sure that they're versatile and I can go do whatever I need on them. So the horse I was running barrels on, I was heeling on her. She was a breakaway practice horse. I've heeled on my breakaway horse. So yeah, I really enjoy that. I enjoy the horse part behind rodeo more than the rodeo, really.
Right.
My daughters just started. We just started them with the breakaway in Jimbo.
Yeah.
But
It'll be fun to watch.
I was telling them about Kassandra here yesterday or the day before, and they want to know what kind of rope you use because they want to get the same exact kind that you're using because they're so impressed with you. What are you using?
I'm using a 3-strand 10-2-5 or 10-5 from King Ropes. I'm a strictly King Ropes gal. I love those 3 strands. They're a little bit heavier. They hold up in the cold for me pretty good. So I use that in the breakaway and the steer roping. I go down a little bit in weight and get kind of a softer lay from them for the breakaway.
So that would be what, a 49 king or a 51 king?
Yep.
Is what you're using?
Yep.
They count their strands instead of I don't even know where a 10-2-5 or a 10-5 came from. I always assumed it was some sort of weight, but then king, they actually count their strands. So 49, which is a 10-2-5, would be a 49 strand, and 51, which is a equivalent of a 10-5, is 51 strand. But have they reached out and want to sponsor you or anything yet, King Ropes?
Nope,
What?
they haven't yet.
Holy moly. The number one girl steer roper, first lady of steer roping, right here. She don't have a rope sponsor yet?
Wait till this podcast comes out.
Yeah, not yet.
I know Kings don't sponsor a lot of people, but
Yeah.
I can see this one pretty good.
Yeah. She's not a lot of people. There's just one lady steer roper right now winning.
That's right.
Are you the only girl carrying a PRCA card?
No, I know there's a few others, and Willow Wilson, she's also in the Mountain State Circuit. She heads outstanding. She's made the circuit finals a couple times. She's made the finals at Cheyenne in the heading. So I know there's other women that are doing that. I believe there's a lady in Montana that's also team roping. So, and I mean, that's been pretty cool. I've grown up watching Willow, competing against Willow at the rodeos. And so she was kind of the only reason I knew it was possible for a woman to get a PRCA card.
Right. There's probably going to be more girls wanting to get into steer roping now since you've done what you've done. What advice would you give a young lady come up to you and say, I want to be a steer roper?
Yeah, I sure hope so. If I can accomplish anything, I hope I inspire some young girls and even women my age or older to get into it. I mean, steer roping is it's an incredible event in terms of tradition and the people, and it's hard to explain.
Yeah, what makes steer roping different? Because I feel the same way. It's just a little bit different, the camaraderie and everything amongst the other contestants. And I think it's always, when I was a little kid, even, I think it's always been that way. What do you think makes it different? Mm-hmm. What do you think makes it different, Kassandra?
I think just, I don't know, just the moving parts of it. I think it's such a tradition-rich event. and the people behind it. I don't know what the connection is, how the steer roping attracts such incredible people. But I think anyone around steer roping has to respect the amount of time and effort and everything it takes to make a busting horse and to get good at it. I know I've been frustrated as I'll get out, just trying to get all the pieces put together. So anybody that's done it and has been around it knows that, and they respect that. And I think that it drives the weak-hearted away because it is so much work. And maybe that's why it's different, because you can't just kind of be you can't be halfway committed to it and keep going. So
I think you're right.
I don't know how many great team ropers I've seen start steer roping because it looks easy to them. And then they end up throwing their steer ropes away and their strings away and saying they're never going to enter another one of these things, because it is such a aggravating sport. So many things do have to go right to make a successful run. There's only one legal head catch. You have to have your trip over there.
Mm-hmm.
They might land for a right hand tie. They might land for a left hand tie. So you got to be about half ambidextrous to even do it. I mean, you got to be able to get out from underneath that rope. That's a big rude awakening for a lot of people when that rope gets tied across their leg. Things start getting real about that time. There's a lot of things. Your horse has to stop when you say, whoa. You got to be trained well. There's just a lot of stuff that can go wrong in the steer roping. A lot of stuff has to go right. They call them intangibles.
I agree. Well, what's your goals as a steer roper, Kassandra? National final rodeo?
my biggest, oh man, that would be incredible.
You got to think big.
Yeah, that's for sure. The circuit finals is one of my biggest goals. Now Cheyenne next year.
You gonna go to Pendleton too?
I would love to. I would like to be to the point that I could go to Pendleton in the breakaway and the steer roping. But I'm not sure what life's going to look like here the next couple of years with vet school and that kind of a time commitment. But yes. I just hope I can continue roping.
Yeah, talk about that vet school. That's quite, I've always heard it's harder to be a vet than it was to be a medical doctor, or took more schooling. I don't know if that's right or not, but what kind of commitment is that?
I got 4 more years left of school. My class schedule is pretty intense. It's like 8 or 9 o'clock to 5 p.m. every day, with just like a little lunch break in there. So it's like a full-time job, so that's 4 years of that. And then, I guess 3 years. And then our 4th year is 2 weeks, like clinical rotations, just getting hands-on experience, with the animals and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a full plate for sure to do that and keep rodeoing and keep horses healthy, and traveling and everything like that. Yeah.
Responsibilities. That's a roper's worst friend.
But most vets that I've ever known, they could afford entry fees too, and that's one thing that gets a lot of guys in the steer roping. So
I'm gonna say vet school ain't gonna be that hard on her, because she's worked at a vet clinic. I mean, been around one pretty much her whole life. He ought to just be able to sign her veterinarian card and make her one.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be nice.
But well, Kassandra, we hope to see you maybe at the Ben Johnson next year if you qualify. And
I'd like to see her here matching somebody.
Yeah, and if you don't qualify,
let's do a 5-steer match at the Ben Johnson. Kassandra,
lady match roping.
That would be a blast. I got to come down there to Pawhuska for the women's ranch rodeo finals a couple years ago, and oh my gosh, I'm sure you could find some women out of that crew that would be able to tie one down, and that would be fun.
Maybe Becca Gagnon. We can get her.
Becca Gagnon.
There you go.
We can't talk Tamara Smith into it. That's Tamara Smith and Kassandra. That'd be a heck of a match, though.
Right.
They both rope good. They both tie good. Mm-hmm. And, I just got a feeling it'd be a match for the ages.
Mm-hmm.
You bet.
So we're going to try to get that going, Kassandra.
That sounds awesome. I'd be game.
You're going to have to come down for it. They might find another one for her to do between now and then, but I don't know. This is going to be a good one. If we can get old Tamara talked into it.
You're the promoter, Cody. You can get that going, surely.
Well, you're going to have to shame her into it or something, Jimbo.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it'd be one heck of a match. I think people would remember that, I guess, forever.
Right.
I know I would.
Yeah.
Because it'd be one I'd be looking forward to because they both rope good.
Right. Right.
But Kassandra, she has those credentials now.
Yeah.
Well, Jimbo, you got anything else for her today?
Well, just thank her for coming on and congratulate her for what she's already accomplished. And like I said, I think she's got a lot more to do in the steer roping world. We'll be watching her at Cheyenne next year.
We're going to be reading her name quite a bit, I imagine.
Oh yeah, I just Google her now. It just goes on and on.
King Ropes, get your head on straight and give her a sponsorship now.
Yeah, yeah. Before somebody else does.
Yeah, before this Rattler company or something does.
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you for coming on today, and congratulations. We're all just so proud of you and excited for you, and my wife and daughters, they're excited for you. So it must be a lot of women across the board and a lot of little girls really looking up to you now, Kassandra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I sure hope so. That's been one of the most rewarding parts of this is I get to go to the steer opens and some of these guys' daughters, I get to meet them and, take pictures and just talk to them because that was me, So I hope there's more girls coming up that see that this is possible and go ahead and just do it.
There will be, I'm sure.
First lady of steer roping right here, Jimbo.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Good Lord. Well, good luck at the circuit finals. We expect you to win those and make the national circuit finals. And we're expecting you to do good up there, too.
You bet. Sounds like a great plan to me.
All right, and then Cheyenne next year.
Oh, yeah, Cheyenne. I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason I'm going to tune in to watch a steer roping next year at Cheyenne, Jimbo. Normally, it's too painful to watch if you're not actually roping there.
Yeah.
But we're going to have to tune in to watch her and cheer her on. I think everybody will be.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's really going to be something to see.
It is.
I don't know how long it's been since there's been a lady steer roper at Cheyenne.
This is really going to be a shot in the arm for steer roping, too, I think.
I think so, too. Well, Kassandra, congratulations on everything. We wish you continued success on the rodeo trail. And we know you're going to be a great vet, so we ain't going to wish you any luck there because you're pretty much
probably already a great vet.
Probably already a great vet. So I guess that's all we got for today. We appreciate you coming on, and we seriously do wish you all the luck in the world.
Good luck with everything, Kassandra. And keep in touch. And when you're getting Manhattan, you're not going to be very far from Puskas, so come see us sometime.
Yeah, come hang out with me and Jimbo over here.
Perfect. I'll do it. Thank you, guys, and thanks for supporting the sport of steer roping and bringing the spotlight to it.
Our pleasure.
Tamara, get practiced up. We got a big match coming next Father's Day. All right, everybody. Be sure and leave a like, a comment, a share. It helps our podcast out, and me and Jimbo will see you next week. Thanks, Kassandra. Safe
Thank
travels.
you.
See ya.